Welcome back to another episode of Inboxing. Inboxing is now running in its third season. I'm your host, Hillel Berg. And in case you didn't know, Inboxing is all about email. We love email marketing, and that's almost every guest that comes on the show. That's the only thing they do. They write copy for email. And our guest today has a bit of a journey till he got into the email space, and he's still doing a lot related to email, but not exactly email, but he does great work in email, and that's why he's here today. And his name is Simon Harper. His company is SRH Design, based in Ireland. I don't want to say a city, I'm sure, but let him just get it. I'll add him in, and we'll get started.
Good morning.
Good morning, Simon Harper.
Nice to see you. Northern Ireland. It's complicated, but yeah, it's not a country, it's a state, but it's my wee country. And I live in Bangor, so it's about 20 minutes outside our capital, Belfast.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Is it still politically complicated, Northern Ireland?
Oh, yes, incredibly. We've got stuff going on at the minute with Brexit, and one of our parties isn't sitting at the minute, which is stopping our government from sitting. But hey, it's the joys of Northern Ireland.
All right. Yeah, we didn't come here to talk politics. Fine. It's just interesting. All right. So, why don't we jump into the first question, which is really just, who are you? Where'd you come from? And how'd you end up here?
Yeah. Well, I started my own business 14, 15 years ago in April 2009 during the world financial crisis. So it was a bit crazy. But that global recession twice and a pandemic, and I'm still going. So it's pretty good. I started out with WordPress design and WooCommerce. I even did graphic design for a long time and print design, and slowly started moving elements out and started to focus just on e-commerce and WordPress, and some technical SEO thrown in there as well. And I then started expanding out into email marketing, and this happened, maybe 10 years ago. Basically, I was using email marketing for myself and was like, hey, this is cool, this works, I could do this as a job. And I've been doing it ever since and growing it. Now, I do have specific niches within it with regards to sort of e-commerce and strategy and deliverability. And then last year I became known as the privacy guy, because I was very honored and blessed. Parcel actually at Unpacked recently mentioned me as my contributions to the email community and what I had done with iOS 15 when it first came out, and its impact on email marketing and how we manage it and how we respect people's privacy. I'm a big advocate for that, which is really funny because in e-commerce it's all about data, but data that's required legally and ethically. I'm very much for that. So yeah, it's been a journey, and it's always up and down. The joys of running your own business. It looks like it's up now, but as you know, this background was not my chosen background, not my grand piano and my house at all. But yeah, that's kind of where my journey is now. So it's almost like 60-40. So 40% of my daily work at the minute is email marketing, sometimes more, but that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Nice. Yeah, because I don't know if everyone's aware about all this, privacy and the Apple Pixel. And can you explain obviously I know what it is, but I just want everyone else to understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, we're almost a year after the initial betas of iOS 15. The very simple process is that Apple basically uses a privacy relay and a proxy to automatically open your emails within the Apple Mail app and block the tracking pixels, break dynamic content, and protect your privacy. So it stops the click tracking, and it's been good, let's say, I think, overall for email marketing, and it's woken us up. And there's been technologies being developed already, which has been fantastic, which allows us to detect who is using Apple MPP and even between bot MPP and human MPP open, so we can personalize and segment and market to people who aren't using those, and then respect those who are using it. And it's been a year almost now as well, as I said, since the beta, but it's been almost a year probably. It's about 8 months since we've had it in stable, and there hasn't been too many iterations since. So we're at a period of normalization where it still has a massive impact, but everything's kind of leveled off and steadied.
I mentioned sort of like it breaks dynamic content. I didn't even realize that part of it. I just thought it was about, inflating open numbers, and we really don't really have any idea.
Yeah, a fun one is countdown timers. So it will break countdown timers because it will open the email at a different time from you, and it is pre-opened, so the timer gets stuck and broken. And basically, depending on whenever you open the email, the timer could have expired, or there could be some time left, but it's an accurate amount of time. I did a whole newsletter test series on it. It was fun, seeing like does this actually happen, and it does. So it's not countdown timers are never great in my opinion, but they don't work with Apple MPP at all, so don't use them.
That's so interesting. I mean, recently I had a conversation with like Kickbox, Litmus.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I was saying your tools and everything, and it never ever came up that it will not work. And usually the thinking goes for email marketers, like Apple's always like everything works in an Apple device. It's not Outlook; it's the opposite. It's like, yeah, put your JavaScript in there, even it'll run, it'll be great. So it's interesting to hear, like even something relatively simple, which is like a dynamic GIF, will break in an Apple device. I did not think about that.
It's fun, but it's good. It's making us better marketers.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, it really bothered me about Apple tracking, and I'll leave the ESP nameless, but there was a while where they were just discounting all Apple opens. And then obviously everyone was upset because it looked like they're getting like very, very low open rates.
Yeah.
And then they would just put it all back. But then my answer is like, why can't you just make an average? Like if 6% of the overall, 10% of everyone open that isn't an Apple device, assume 10% of the Apple devices open, and put an average open rate is somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean there's other ESPs that went the other way and just didn't do anything and can't detect Apple opens at all, and just that's even more useless. But anyway, that's another aside. But as you say, that's whenever possible averages and things come in. I think, as I said before, we're at a level of normalization, because I think I was checking the data with Litmus, and I think we're at 93% adoption rate of MPP within Apple users. So I mean, it used to be a variable. So but with 93% of Apple users using MPP, it's safe to assume that open rates are where they are. So yes, they're inflated, but they're more accurate now than what they were 8 months ago.
Yeah, and they're also educating people. Like they made a commercial, right, with an actor.
Yes,
his name.
They did a UK version as well, and it was about privacy in general. And the very first thing they mentioned was email, before ads, before anything. They mentioned email and our tracking pixels. Now, there's people that turn off tracking pixels altogether because they're maybe not needed. I think tracking pixels are needed for various good ethical reasons, but there's big email marketers who have turned them off altogether, and they're doing fine, and that's okay. You just need to know how. It's hard to know, and with your subscribers, if they're engaged or not, if you have no tracking involved. So that's the thing. The only thing you can really do is inbox replies, or maybe you've got a lead somewhere off to a website, and the only way they've got it is via the email, that type of thing. But it gets harder.
Right. Yeah, I remember when I had Andrew Bonar was on the show, talking about almost 2 years ago. Like when I asked him the next question, which is, what do you find most upsetting about the inbox or in the inbox? He was like, no one's going to like this answer. But then he went on for about 10 minutes about how tracking and the pixel is way too much, and there's no privacy, and he doesn't open images, and doesn't open anything. So
Well,
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
interesting stuff.
for me, it's not tracking pixels. It's for me, it's something that happened 4 times this morning between my walk from leaving my son off to school to getting back here for this live chat, and it was cold spam emails. Now, there is an art to cold emails. But there's very few people that can actually execute them. And pretty much if I get a cold email, I just mark it as spam and block it. 9 times out of 10, it's because the person hasn't even remotely bothered to change their copy and paste text that they've used for everybody, and it's kind of like the information they have on me is completely inaccurate. So I'm like, oh, okay, bin. It's such a time suck, and we have so very little time in our days. It's something that is, we can't get more off, we can't get less off. It's set, it's finite, but once it's used, it's gone. So I'm not going to waste it on that time. So yeah, I'm not going to talk for 10 minutes on that one. That's an easy one. Cold spam emails out, away they go. And it's not hard to do email marketing right. It is, but it isn't. That's a very Irish way of saying things. But we can do better. And cold, horrible, spammy marketing emails are not good email marketing.
All right. Well,
So I'm very opinionated on that one.
for sure. I mean, a lot of people are. It's it's interesting because it's a part of business for sure, and growing business. But like you said, okay, for everyone listening, use very targeted lists, extremely targeted lists, and write relevant content for that very tiny list.
Do you know what? One of the best ones that I got, and it was unbelievable because the fact that I got it actually got me to use their tools and services. Louis Nichols, CEO of, he's one of the co-founders of Sparkloop. He reached out to me, but he piqued my interest. And then I did a quick check and was like, okay, this is completely legitimate. And as you say, when they get it right, I now use Sparkloop services. So,
there you go. So what opportunities do you feel most brands are missing out on?
So this one is fun because you interviewed before me Naomi West. Naomi West is one of my heroes in life. Full stop. Never mind email marketing. She is an incredible person. And some of these answers, I had written these answers before she answered. So some people may see some overlap, but innovation is one of the biggest things. I think brands play it safe. So they try to find the lowest common denominator of what works technology-wise, cross-platform-wise, or they're just scared to try something new. So Gmail annotations, they've been around for a long time now, but they got a really big revamp recently, and Google's pushed out some fantastic information on it and how to use it. Dark mode, I think it was Karen Slater from Litmus done phenomenal stuff on dark mode recently and all the cool things you can do about it. But Action Rocket, so they're an email marketing company here in the UK, and they are phenomenal. And this is what I love about them, because their production newsletter that they send out every week is in beta permanently, because they use it for testing and innovation, and they do some incredible things. So if you're looking for what you're missing out on in terms of interactive dynamic content, what you can do with dark mode, what you can do with playful, it's just glorious. And sometimes it does break and you're like, that's fine. The other biggest thing for me is connection. So what I mean by that is interaction and feedback, treating your subscribers as not data points. So a lot of companies are missing out in that opportunity. So they're going, all right, this is a data point, this is a sale, this is a lead. But it's not, it's more than that. It's a human connection that you can make. And as we move into an era, and I believe we're already in an era of privacy, but as we really accelerate through an era of privacy, I think it's incredibly important that we get back that human connection in marketing. Treat people with care, treat them with respect, and you'll be rewarded. Everybody wants to have an authentic relationship with a brand, not just to feel like a number. Do you want to comment now, or do you want me to go on my third thing? I have 3 things.
Yeah, no, that's a great comment. I mean, it just reminded me, like I just got a new client.
Oh, cool.
So yesterday I'm going through the welcome email So it's just for everyone to know, like, yeah, welcome email had a coupon code in it that everyone was getting. So that's like, I didn't know it at first. It was like someone just bought and they get a coupon. It's a little messed up. Characters like buy, like doesn't make any sense. So we split it up. Okay, that's the first thing. Then everything, I don't know who did the original setup. It wasn't them. They hired some guy. I don't know who, but everything, everything's in all caps. All the headlines, all the buttons. Like, talk to people like people. You know what I mean? Like, that's the number one thing. That's my my pet peeve. You just talk to people, respect people. Don't treat them like idiots. You know what I mean? Like, I see, CTAs everywhere. Like they had this nice email, but they have it's an art company sort of. So they have part of their welcome series is a thing about like meet the artists. Like an artist that are using their products, and it's like featuring different artists, and they have a whole bunch of. But instead of like, it was column text, but under every column text was a big fat button. So you had a button at the top for the landing page, and then under each column, two columns was another fat button. So I got rid of all those buttons and put a little text link. So in the column, so it was a lot cleaner, a lot less giant buttons. Like, but that's all what you're talking about is, just respecting people and like ABC.
I'm very good. And that's the thing. I mean, that's kind of your natural segue to my third point, I suppose, is that no welcome emails really, really, really annoys me. I'm trying really hard not to swear here. For people that know me, I swear a lot. I think it's an Irish thing, so I'm trying to keep it suitable for work.
Keep this PG-13.
Yeah, 100%. So I nearly did something very bad there.
If you want, I could tell my editor, to beep out,
No, I'll make it easy for him. So no welcome emails.
And then I can make one of those. I don't know if you ever listened to like This American Life or any of those podcasts, but they always say like, this is the this is the bleep version. If the unbleep version, watch it on YouTube or on LinkedIn.
No, it's the no welcome emails really annoy me, because welcome emails have the highest engagement rates pretty much of any emails you're going to send. So why are you not going to utilize that opportunity to send something? Like, something is better than nothing. But often I'll sign, and what shocks me most is it's some of the big brands as well, or not even necessarily big brands, but even big marketers or big technical people that I would follow because I'm a total geek. And I wait, I check my spam, and there's nothing there, and I'm like, why? So yeah, frustrates me a lot.
I signed up. I want your content. Like, surprise and delight me. I want to read your welcome series. Yeah.
The welcome emails are a great chance to explain your email cadence, the frequency of them, a little bit about you, try and get some personalization there off the bat, ask the subscriber some questions, and away you go. But you can't do that if you don't send an email.
Right. You cannot. All right. How should companies come up with great ideas for emails?
I might talk for 10 minutes about this one.
That's fine. Go for 20. You know what I mean? Ideation, like as an email marketer myself, like, I mean, we talked about this. It's not easy. To come up with, every brand has its niche, but to keep pumping out emails that have a real reason, that have entertainment value or its value in general to the reader.
I'll get the chat GPT joke out of the way now, but no. No, I'll talk about AI later, but I think an easy way to do it, no matter what brand you are, and a lot of this stuff, I think it was June 22, so almost a year ago, Zero Bounce did a great article on this, and they featured 7 industry email experts. I was one of them, to give these types of ideas and influence for people. And I think so gathering user-generated content is a great way to create an email campaign. So you get feedback from people, you get product reviews, service reviews. You just ask them general questions. And that feedback is amazing because it's personal, it's direct, it's first-party data, and it gives you a great way to inform your campaign. So, if you have that block. The second thing would be revive. So if you have a blog, I'm a web designer, so people are like, oh, you don't do blogs. Yes, you do. Blogs are really important, particularly now that everybody's going to start a blog again and use ChatGPT. to write it and get that same old content. But anyway, you can revive old blog posts, so you can turn those into email newsletters, or vice versa, turn email newsletters into blog posts. But email RSS campaigns are great. So you can, whenever you're writing your blog post, you can, most ESPs will provide an RSS service. So you can create a campaign that will automatically send out, your 4 monthly blog posts that you did this week, and off it goes. There's an automation that you can sort of set and forget. Write thought pieces is the third one on industry related topics. So I run 3 at the minute weekly newsletters because I like to punish myself. But they're sometimes they're normally, when they're divided into specific industries, and one of them very much is experiential, but the other 2 are normally plugin or service or tool reviews, and then they're mixed in with thought pieces. And the thought pieces are normally actually my most engaged, because people get an insight into what I actually believe on a topic, and I'm really open about it. So it's if you don't agree or you do agree, reply, let me know. And I get some really interesting responses, and that's a great thing to do. And again, they can inform you and your further campaigns, because you can get that user generated feedback to go, look, okay, I'm going to do a follow-up on this, a few campaigns later, based on what people have said, that type of thing. Sorry, I'm on a roll here. Can I keep going?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Can I stop you for a second? You say you
no,
do
yeah, no, of course.
Did you say you do 30?
No, 3 weekly.
3 weekly. Okay, yeah, because I do 1 weekly, and it's a lot. It takes a few hours. Yeah,
it's crazy. I did have 4 at one point. I had a technical SEO newsletter, and I did it for about a year. And technical SEO I love. It's really geeky, but the problem is that I'm in a circle of people that are far more knowledgeable and far more expert than me, and I'm just like, no. It's not that there's plenty of room for everybody, but I'm not bringing value. My newsletter isn't bringing value, and the engagement was good, but it was just like, it could be so much better. So I binned that one. But yeah, no, just 3. I think daily. I don't know if it was Naomi West or Emily Ryan was talking about this. I mean, daily. So if you do 30, 1 a month, daily email newsletters, man, that's my worst nightmare. To execute that properly and bring value for every day, no.
very difficult. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, the company updates sounds boring, but if you're a B2B business, particularly, and there's maybe a new division has started in your business, new staff have started, you've added a new service, or maybe you've even changed location, is a big one as well, particularly if you're a brick and mortar store where you're selling goods. It's a great opportunity to inform and educate your audience of these changes that are going on, make them feel part of your brand, part of your company, part of your business. If you're in e-commerce, there's so much you can do in e-commerce that kind of does it for you. I mean, when you're looking for ideas, you've got abandoned carts, or checkouts, whatever you want to call it, a browse abandonment, review and testimonial emails, checking in with survey emails to see how people are finding the customer experience or the experience in general. E-commerce is a gold mine for just opportunities and automation that is just there. And surveys aren't just limited to e-commerce, and you can do it for any brand. And as we move into this deeper area of privacy, surveys are a big thing. I think is it Octane AI is brilliant. The guys over at Octane, and I think Val Geisler has just moved on to them as an advisor. So she's a customer advocate experience. Like, Val Geisler is amazing. So she was email marketing genius, and then went to work for Klaviyo, and still working for Klaviyo, and is just amazing. So the fact that she's going to advise Octane AI on how to take their surveys and customer interaction to the next level is unreal. Because surveys have just they're brilliant. That they're just such a good way to gather data and to market from those. And then ESPs have lots of technology built into those as well, where automatic tagging and sending automatic campaigns out based on answers. So you can do very basic surveys, or you can take them to a whole other level to make your life easier, but also to get targeted, personalized, accurate content to the right people. And then the last one, Not quite 10 minutes.
That's fine.
This one's interesting because the context for this one is that Northern Ireland is really small. There's about, I think it's 1.8, 1.9 million people that live in Northern Ireland. That's it. Population of New York City is, the population of New York City is about 19 million. So it's 10 times the population of Northern Ireland live in one city. But anyway, because Northern Ireland is so small, a lot of our stuff is, it's who you know. So can get you working, can also hurt you as well. But one of the things that's really interesting is that I believe in co-opetition. There's plenty of work for everybody. You don't have to, the world is your oyster. We have so many barriers have been broken down. So anybody could be your competitor, anybody could be your friend, but anybody can inform you. So whether it is your competitor list, if you want to get ideas, see what they're doing, why not sign up to their list? It's a great way, and it's market research. Brands do it all the time. E-commerce brands will sign up to each other's lists. It's so funny seeing it. Now, it's not cool whenever you take people's content and you paste it and use it word for word and claim it as your own. That I'm not saying that at all. That happened very recently to a Mailchimp Partner friend of mine, and that was not cool. It's to sign up and to learn, to educate yourself, to make yourself better, not to steal. So I'll underline that straight away. That's not cool.
All right. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it's all been great, really.
Thanks.
Okay, I mean, where you kind of almost feels like a repeat of the previous question, but yeah, it's a struggle for a lot of brands to just keep delivering, giving people a reason to open. So if you feel like this is a repeat of the previous answer, you could skip it. But
I'm going to answer it slightly differently.
Okay. All right. So yeah, the question officially is, how can companies make their emails more engaging to keep people opening their emails?
Well, I think I mentioned Action Rocket before in one of the previous answers, and their innovations and what they do, and they keep it fun. Really good emails is hilarious. I mean, they're informative and brilliant, and their job is to inspire, but their copywriters are just so damn funny. I mean, they're brilliant. And this is what sort of leads on. So like Emily Ryan, she's a Mailchimp partner. She's very well known within the email community, asked a question on Twitter a couple of weeks back that sometimes that it's not the subject lines that get you to open an email. It's the expectation of the content within the email, because you're used to the brand, used to their message. So regardless of what their subject line is, I'm going to open that email anyway. And being the innovators that Action Rocket are, they took that a step further and then asked the question themselves in a Twitter poll: is it the from address, is it the subject line, or is it the content expectations that gets you to open an email? And there was 63.6% said it was the content expectations that got them to open it. So I think, as you say, to an extent, it is repeating some of the previous answers where you need to innovate and you need to listen to people within your list, and to say they're not just subscribers, they are people. Chat with them, make the time. I mean, maybe have one-to-one conversations with specific subscribers, maybe your most engaged subscribers, and say, look, why do you like this so much? And then go to the other end of the spectrum and say to the non-subscriber, pretty much not engaged at all, why do you hate me? I make it better, that kind of way. But I think it's very easy for us, and you said it yourself before, whenever you're lacking ideas, it's boring, you get stuck in a rut, and you just sometimes need to change things up and be afraid to make mistakes. If you make the same mistakes over and over, that's just silly. But if you make mistakes and you learn from them, or you make mistakes as I've done in the past and they accidentally work, it's brilliant. I mean, I think I accidentally sent an email for an e-commerce client to completely the wrong segment. I'm not going to tell you what I did or why, but it shouldn't have gone to that segment. But we got sales from it. We're meant to, but it was the voice and the tone and the message was for a completely different segment. But it hit off with this segment, and we're like, all right, okay. So we need to tap into that. And that's the thing. We need to sometimes listen to our inner voice and be experimental, but also listen to that outer voice, our subscribers, our people, our followers, our community. and let that inform our content, because we want to get it to the point where, like Emily and Action Rocket had said, it doesn't matter about the subject line. It doesn't matter about the from name. It's just the fact that an Action Rocket email has just dropped in my inbox. I'm going to open that, because there's certain brands I will open straight away, certain companies, and others I'll look at a few days later. But just if I know it's going to bring me, so really good emails, as I said earlier on, it's going to bring me joy. I'm going to laugh and I'm going to smile. So I'm opening that bad boy straight away. And it's informative as well. I think the most engaging content is on brand and on voice for, whatever company is sending it. But it's also a bit lighthearted. There's so much crap has been going on in the world the last couple of years for everyone. I think, we need a little bit of humor in our day. And that's what sort of, if it could be one single tip across all industries, be humorous, lighten up.
For sure. I mean, we talked about that. I talked that a little bit with Nomi. Yeah, that like, have fun, like get, just experiment, it's a fun space, email, and you can try things, and it's interesting, like I used, there's a few things I've used recently, but like I have two similar brands, basically one in Israel, one in New York. And the last days of the thing, it's like, okay, procrastinators, your time has come. And the guy in New York, he was like, please don't call them procrastinators. But it did great, you know what I mean? Like it had a heart in there, like we're not, we're not insulting them. I don't see it as insulting. It's like we're engaging them and surprising them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I haven't bought yet, and I need to buy. Like the person who's procrastinating wants to buy. Like the person who doesn't want to buy didn't think of himself as a procrastinator. He just thought of them as someone not interested in buying. The only person who would be right, for sure. And that's just being playful. It's just like, let's see what happens. Let's try something. And I feel like brands need to do that. One of my big pain points, honestly, from all these years of inboxing is that I almost had like the lead copy person from Chubby's Shorts.
Okay.
Who does a fantastic job. Like their emails are hilarious. They're having so much fun. They're just, it's a ball. Like they're just being crazy. So it, but they got bought out apparently like the summer before, like, so they then, like they, I guess the people that bought them didn't want them being on a podcast talking about how they do their thing. But yeah, it was a shame. But because I'd love to hear that, kind of have that conversation. Like, how do you make it that every email is just like a joy to read? And it's exactly what you said. Like, I don't care what the subject line is. It's more just like, oh, is the subject line gonna make me laugh, or like the copy or what they're doing, and everybody wants to smile. And I think that, Chubby's, it's one. I mean, like I also love Wool and the Gang, except that they send from a do not reply at Wool and the Gang. I hate that, but their emails are hilarious. I mean, like they're Wools, they come up with ridiculous names for them. And like every little thing just puts a little smile on your face. It just makes it like a fun experience to open those emails.
They're very good. I think a brilliant one as well for if you're talking about how brands can be more engaging and content ideas. It's a cereal company over in the UK called Surreal. And they are incredible. They are so funny because I think they have 5 or 6 SKUs. I'm like, that's it. But their emails are glorious. I mean, they I won't repeat it on this one, but they sent out a brilliant one on Pancake Day over here in the UK. I drove Tuesday, and it was amazing, telling basically pancakes where to go and to ignore pancakes, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely, and they're so funny. I don't know, like I would love to be in their content creation room and see what madness goes on, because it's like we have 5, 6 flavors of cereal. How do we keep promoting this? They do it so well, and it's through humor every single time. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
They're very good.
I love hearing about brands that are being hilarious. All right, so what, automation is huge in email. I recently wrote in a proposal actually that, in email, automation is the bread, campaigns are butter. But, Yeah. So which automations or which email series do you feel are the most impactful?
I think it kind of, it depends on the industry. So you've got cross industry, which is welcome emails, which I mentioned before. You can do one email or you can do a series. You can go overkill with a series of welcome emails where you bore the customer or subscriber or person, however you'd like to describe them. But we want to call them a person, to death, and then they've just signed up and then they're gone. So you can very easily send too many welcome emails. You got to find the balance just right. I think normally a series, unless it's in an educational series, 2 or 3 welcome emails spaced out. I send one. My welcome email needs updated. It's horrendous. I'm the biggest hypocrite out there. It's so funny. But normally, it's nice to have a little series of 1 or 2. I would do for most clients. I think 2 is pretty much my average. Abandoned carts is another big one, particularly because just in my industry and my niche is sort of e-commerce. That's the one I would work with the most. And what I found, it obviously depends on the customer base that the client's using and what e-commerce platform that they're using. But generally, what seems to work for my clients would be a series of 3 abandoned cart emails, and they're spaced out. And it's interesting. I see a lot of people will send abandoned cart emails within an hour, sometimes within 10 hours. My first email doesn't go out for 24 hours.
Oh.
And it's the most engaged abandoned cart email in the series. It still converts after that, but even the 2 and the 3, which go out a couple of days after, respectively, they engage too, which is really, really nice. Product review emails are another big one, where so customer purchases a product, they're asked to review it, but it's also a chance, if it's done well, to upsell and recommend another personalized product within there. So you're getting that user generated contact and content and feedback, but you're also potentially increasing the average order value and getting them to purchase again. RSS is another big one, as I mentioned to you before. So if you have a blog, you can create those RSS campaigns and it's automated to go out. I have used other ones before, but I'm a Mailchimp partner. So just to explain how theirs works is that once you've set it up, you can set a frequency of how often the newsletter goes out. Now, I believe it's not available in their new editor. It only works with the classic editor and the classic automations. But the say, for example, it goes out once a month and you write 4 blog posts a month, 6 blog posts a month. That's how many goes out. But if you write none, the email doesn't go out. It's very smart that way, and nice. So it doesn't just send out a blank email. But they're a great way for you to send out content. And the other then would be a series that's got, so this is more what I think is more impactful in terms of, well, actually, before I add my next point, do you want to say anything there? Sorry, I said a lot.
Oh, you did a lot. No, I mean, it was interesting to me, like here we talk about, 24-hour delay for the first, abandoned cart email. Recently I did some abandoned cart work for a furniture brand, and all I did was really, I made it personal. You know what I mean? It wasn't just about, you left something in your cart. It was like about the couch, or it was about the bed, or about the table. Right. Like, and that made a huge difference. Like, just small, I can't say it took a little bit of work. It was a little bit of, quite a bit of work, but it, the results are there, and it's huge. Yeah. So yeah, getting personal is always a great thing to do.
100%. I think that's the thing. I mean, any series can be impactful with proper design, testing, implementation, and iteration. So you can, like, educational series, if you want, or you can just do a random series, on a particular topic if you want it. But I think the problem is that ESPs, they call them so many things with automations, flows, like it just depends on the language, and they offer different ways to do it as well, with linear flows or branches and all those types of things. And that's where your design and your testing comes in. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents.
All right. Okay. All right. So what was, every email marketer has had their scariest moments, or you don't want to call it, or it's every send. But what was your biggest email challenge, and then how did you handle it?
Yeah, so this is a recent one. I won't mention the ESP, but for some strange reason, their connection with Shopify will integrate and pull in all the customer information in terms of the data. So shipping addresses, billing addresses, which is really handy for this particular campaign, because this ESP, their connection with WooCommerce doesn't do that. Currently, it won't pull in, and you can do other ways to pull in the data, but it won't pull in the shipping and contact address data as we like it to. So that became a problem for this client, because basically, obviously, during the coronavirus pandemic, economies everywhere got hit, and our local economy and within the UK came up with this idea of a £200 voucher scheme, which would go out to people, and then they could use it to try and stimulate the economy. So they would have to use these vouchers offline. They couldn't use it online. It was to regenerate the high street and try and get people to it. So this particular e-commerce customer also has a brick and mortar store, so we could use those vouchers for there. The only problem is that this ESP had none of the data for their addresses for us to send it to. So we couldn't just blast the entire email list and go, hey, everyone. And it wasn't time worth our time to try and go through these thousands of subscribers and try and figure out manually who had this. So we actually used another reporting tool which does email marketing as well, and it's called Metorik. It's absolutely incredible. It's an e-commerce reporting tool and sort of now email marketing tool as well for WooCommerce and Shopify. But what we were able to do with this, and it was awesome, was we were able to export and filter all customers within Northern Ireland in that data, and then import it into our ESP, cross-match everything, and then we had our segment created. So it was instead of sitting down there for hours doing everything, trying to figure out who was possibly in here and have some inaccuracies, with using two different tools and a bit of cross-referencing, we're able to get there within about 20 minutes. And it was amazing, because out of that, then we were able to get sales that we hoped we were going to get from it. So yeah, it was tricky. And that's the thing. ESPs do things in different ways. That's the joys of working with them. Sometimes you sit there and go, this is glorious. And other times you go, why can't you do something so basic? And that's why it's important to have, and I think, we might talk about this later on, a variety of tools in your toolbox, because you're going to face challenges. And as you said at the start of the question, you're going to make mistakes, like I did, sending emails to the wrong people. And sometimes it works, like it did in my case earlier on. And other times it's like, right, you have to apologize, hold your hands up and make it right. But sometimes it's just basic difficulties like this, and you have to use different tools to find out what's going on.
Right, for sure. Cool. All right. So what do you feel are the top 5 mistakes that companies make when it comes to email?
Okay. So very conscious of our time here. I'm fine, but I feel I'm just like, oh my goodness.
No, we're perfect. We're towards the end. Don't worry.
Yeah. So in no particular order, not implementing DMARC, really, or if you're American or Canadian, DMARC, but I'm not, so DMARC. It really cracks me up. So SPF and DKIM are so with the 3 authentication methods for stopping spoofing and spamming and phishing and all that kind of stuff. But most people don't implement DMARC still, or they don't implement it properly. Poor subject lines is obviously a big one. Poor segmentation, so or no segmentation at all. I won't name the company over here, but I'm a member of a business network over here in the UK. They're the biggest. Anybody listening to this, they'll know who they are, because their segmentation is terrible. They basically send, the UK is divided into different regions, and we do have regional emails, but the majority of their content just goes out to everyone, and it's completely irrelevant. And we get daily emails, and it's so frustrating, because pretty much the main emails I just bin straight away, because also your ability to, and this will lead me on to my next one in a minute, your ability to update your preferences or unsubscribe from specific emails doesn't work. If you unsubscribe from everything. And I'm like, no, I don't want to unsubscribe from everything. I just want to unsubscribe from this useless pieces of information. But that sort of leads me on to my next point, and it's my biggest issue. Oh, and it's illegal. No unsubscribe button. We're hiding it and making it very hard to find. If I sign up to a brand or somebody cold emails, or even worse, I see somebody has cold emailed me and they put me on a list and it says, unsubscribe. I'm like, well, I never signed up to this, which is illegal here in the UK. So I am just blocking spam you straight away. But if I do sign up legitimately to a brand, a product, or a service, and I get an email from them and there is no unsubscribe link, my first port of call is to sort of give them a chance. I'll contact them and say, look, there's no unsubscribe link here. And if I don't get a response, then I'm gone. If I do get a response, I'm like, oh, we'll look into that. And maybe the next email, next 2 or 3 emails still don't have it, I'm gone. Because it's just shady. It's not cool. And it's not respecting people. And then the last one, I think that's 5. Yeah, that's 4. So last one, all image inaccessible emails. All image emails crack me up. I know why people do it. It's because Outlook. Outlook's hell.
Oh, I mean, it's that, and I think, there's another reason also. It's not just Outlook, but it's
people can't just design, like graphic designers do them, and like, oh, we can't create that beautiful, stunning layout in HTML for email, so we're just going to stick it in. Yeah,
right. It's just quick. It's just quick turnaround. You know what I mean? It's yeah.
Sometimes,
I was shocked when I got a furniture brand that I'm working with. I signed up to a bunch of other ones, and I was shocked when I saw like a 2-column layout: text, image, all image, like the easiest thing.
Yeah, it is frustrating, and especially if they don't use alt tags, or you have those images blocked, as we were saying earlier on, the email's just not going to load. If there's no alt tags there, you're also not going to see what that image is meant to be about. And that is, so all image and inaccessible emails really cracks me up, full stop, because I say this because I'm a hypocrite as well. I'm not perfect at accessibility. I'm trying to get better, but I'm a hypocrite. And it's the thing that cracks me up the most, because I have this unbelievable privilege of I don't have any disabilities at all that impact me engaging 100% with content, and that is a privilege, and it's one that I take for granted, and it's not cool. And I try my best, but there's some brands that don't care at all and make the most inaccessible, unthoughtful emails out there. Don't do it. Stop. Think of other people apart from yourself. Step out of your privilege. Says the white guy.
Okay, so yeah, I think you're touching on this before, that I think in general as an email marketer, there's a lot of tools, and sometimes you have to be innovative and find the tool that you'll need in order to get what you want to get done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are your favorite email marketing tools?
I've mentioned Metorik before. They're fantastic. They do standard email marketing broadcast tools and abandoned carts.
How do you spell that, just so people?
Oh, they're an Australian company. So Metorik, it's good luck with my Northern Irish accent. M for Mike, Metorik. They're really cool. They're brilliant. I've been around I've been using them, I think, since the start. And how they've evolved. They're phenomenal. Parcel.
Metorik.
Yeah, Metorik. Parcel is just it's the bomb. I love it. What Avi Goldman has done there, and Naomi's now been doing is just unreal. It's a phenomenal tool for building emails, for accessibility check. It's limitless, and Avi just keeps adding stuff. So there's free tools and there's paid tools. Let's just go and check out Parcel. Absolutely
Parcel's
amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Email resources. So it's a website. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's email resource dot.
That's also Avi. Actually.
Yeah. There's a few people that curate that, and it's just unbelievable. Do I have a problem with email? I go to email resources, and there's normally a tool or a resource there that will solve my problem. It's phenomenal. Stephanie Griffith, another email marketing hero of mine, and DTC Queen, as she's known on Twitter, she created Email Preview, which is awesome. It's a great way of putting your emails in and turning them into images. Copy AI, which has been around since before ChatGPT. I use it a lot for inspiration. So we talked about earlier on, whenever you're stuck for ideas, sometimes if I'm stuck for a basic intro or subject lines and preview text, I'll use it to inspire me. I'm yet to 100% use something that's completely generated, but there's some stuff that I've taken like, oh, that's really good, and I'll change a couple of words here or there because it's brilliant. It's ideation, and it's phenomenal. And yeah, there's so many more, but
Yeah, no, it's limitless. I mean, like, I think I wasn't sure if I understood you before, but it reminded me of something that probably happened in like 2014, where we used some tool, some kind of tool, which we were able to like upload our list and plug them on a map, and then like say we want the people around this address. I think that was what we were able to do.
Naomi West also has a great tool. It's a Chrome extension, which I can't remember the name of it because I have it just installed. In fact, do I have it installed? I wonder. I do. It's called Email Characters. It's absolutely amazing. So it'll tell you your subject line character count when it gets cut off, and you just get the ellipsis. And it also works for pre-headers. It's a free tool as well. I think she has it linked on her personal website. So yeah, Email Characters is another great one.
Awesome. Okay, and we touched on this before a little bit, but if you want to add any others, what brands do you like to read in your inbox?
Yeah, it's funny because obviously I've got a little look at these questions before, and then I was like, I think the brands for business, and then I've listened to myself back in this conversation about what brands I do. So it's not necessarily brands for me in terms of brands that my business buy from, because with my services or tools that I use for my job, it's mostly just transactional emails that come through and the odd marketing one. But I think it's more people that I follow, my online mentors or those that inspire me. And I think, really good emails is one. As I said, Naomi West and Emily Ryan have phenomenal. Megan, I'm going to absolutely butcher her name, and I really apologize for choosing.
Bushizin.
Yeah, thank you. She is amazing. Absolutely phenomenal. Action Rocket is another brilliant one. Actually, a really good one that I have an emotional roller coaster with was really good is Magnet Monster. They're based in UK in Liverpool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, Adam.
So they're class, and gosh, there's loads of one of the best ones is Dan Oshinsky's Not a Newsletter, which is actually basically the most basic newsletter to a Google Doc, because it's not a newsletter, but it is a newsletter. It's fun. I love it. It's amazing, and the stuff that he does. But I'm terrible. So I think whenever I was thinking about this question, so I like emails, but I often feel overwhelmed by email, and like I really do. We get it inundated so much. So a lot of the time there'll be brands that I'm subscribed to, but I'm not actually subscribed. I will follow their RSS feed. So I have a tool called Publer. It's publer.io, where I'll pull all the RSS feeds of their email archives in there, and then I'll read them at my leisure. So I'm really sorry to lots of brands out there who I won't mention, but I do follow you, but just not from your emails, because it's a better way that I can consume their content without feeling overwhelmed.
All right. Yeah. So what work that you've done, either campaign or automation, are you very proud of, or your favorite in some way?
Yeah. Well, I've hinted at one. I said I sent the accidental email for that e-commerce client where I could send completely the wrong email to the wrong segment, and it blew up. And I was like, okay. But it was brilliant because I said to the client straight away, she was like, what happened? Because she saw these sales coming through. I was like, yeah, I made a really big mistake and I'm really sorry. And she was like, don't ever apologize for that again. I was like, no, we can't do that again. But that was a fun one. Another great one, this is brilliant, is loyalty points and expiration birthday emails. They are really popular and they're lots of fun. The reason why I love them is that they're great campaigns to design and have graphically and have some fun with them, and also to personalize. But the loyalty points expiration, this is a fun one. So it's an automation I have set up for quite a lot of clients where we'll let people know a month before their points expire. If they do expire, it just depends what loyalty system you use and what your terms and conditions are. But not only does it help encourage a sale, but what this one did was we had a client of mine had a customer who was quite angry that their loyalty points had expired. But we were able to confirm with some deliverability stuff that they had received the email twice. That their points were expiring. So it's a great safety net as well. But we're really good because we gave them their points back anyway and said, go ahead, spend it.
Go make a purchase, go.
Yeah, but just know that, it's in the terms and conditions. You got 11 months on this. And we also send out email reminders about it. And obviously we know that if an email is marked as delivered, it doesn't necessarily mean it's landed in their inbox. It could have ended up in their spam. But whenever they click on links and things, and that's whenever, tracking is really handy, it's like, we know you got the email. So, and then I think one of the best emails for me, and this is really strange. So I think maybe you've got this from this, and we've chatted ourselves before. I'm a really open, honest, personable guy. And I think those emails are certainly what works best for me. They work best whenever I'm doing stuff with brands. So, but sometimes my weekly emails stuff happens. I'm a working dad, and like the last couple of weeks have been really interesting with our kids and chickenpox, and so one getting it and being spaced out, just getting over it, and then the other one getting it, and it just made a couple of my weekly emails really hard to get out. And I sent an apology out to people and said, look, I'm not sending it out properly this week. Here's some link to some news. Here's a short topic about what I was going to talk about. We'll talk about it next week. And the engagement rates are just great because they're kind of like, oh, wow, this guy's human. And I'm like, yeah.
It doesn't happen on its own. It's not ChatGPT. It really is really sitting and writing.
Exactly. So I think that's a good segue actually to our next question.
All right, let's jump into that one. All right, yes, obviously the world is changing really fast. And around AI, and people first think ChatGPT, but I think it's probably going to take us into every aspect of our life. Honestly, we'll probably have some influence from the way AI is becoming much more intelligent. You can have a best friend who's not really a robot. And that's really what's going on. So how do you think that's going to impact email marketing and the world at large?
Yeah, I think it's still really early days. Obviously, ChatGPT came out of nowhere in November. OpenAI, who runs it, has had other AI services running around, before that. But because of the explosion of that, it, prompted Google into this horrific reactionary response of dropping their AI, Bard, and it's just, it's horrendous and not fair on businesses. No citation, nothing, and obviously Bing was ready for it, and they were integrating ChatGPT and working on citations. Now it's not. They've had some horror shows already so far, but it's dramatically better than what Google's is, and I think that's the biggest thing. AI is still, and like it's amazing, but we're still phenomenally early days, and we have all these issues of citation, accreditation, copyright, ownership. That we've already had people getting sued over it, and some big companies as well, like Getty Images and Adobe Stock and everything. And then all of a sudden, though they're seeing these opportunities, they're kind of like, oh, well, hold on 2 seconds. What about, if we create our own AI within this? So I think AI at the moment is raising more questions than it's providing answers. I think we're going to get a lot of content initially that is obviously some that's completely wrong and people don't know it because they're just taking this as God and, the correct answer and defined this is truth when it's not. But I think that AI is creating a lot of opportunities, which is really cool. It's a lot of businesses are springing up powered by ChatGPT and other services. So it's providing jobs, and it's providing innovation as well. I just think that, we're nowhere near Terminator levels yet, or Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything like that. I know Google's about to hit the next stage of quantum computing, which is terrifying. If we combine that quantum computing with, say, I'm a total geek nerd, with AI, then it starts to get phenomenally terrifying. But at the same time, I think, yes, it's going to change the world, but for the good, for the better, for the worse, somewhere in between. Not sure yet. I like to be positive and hope that it's not for the worse. I'm like, the way I'm using it today, it saves me time, it inspires me. Do I take it as truth? No, but I use it as a source, and I think it's great, but it's not perfect.
Right, for sure. Am I chopping up, or we're good? Because you just chopped
Did
up a
very
little bit towards the
briefly,
end
but
there.
you chopped up in a very accessible way, so it's like he's still there. It's good.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like you said, it could save you a lot of time. Like I recently needed to do some kind of Excel work, like many marketers,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
and I wasn't sure how to do something, and I just asked ChatGPT, and they
Oh, yeah.
just told me what to do. And if I had to like read the documentation, like it would have taken me a long time to figure it out. If I would have watched a YouTube video, it still would have taken me a long time. With this, it took me like 2 minutes, like 2 minutes
Yep.
instead. Like
Done.
do this, then run this, and then bang, bang, bang. And I had the data how I wanted it. And that was
Not bad.
amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. All right. We've actually reached the finale.
Oh, there you
Unless
go.
we could segue maybe a little bit before we jump to the end. I
Okay,
wanted to
no
ask you
problem.
I had a few questions to ask you actually.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm curious to know product reviews with WooCommerce, and this is very specific, and I hope
Yeah.
our listeners appreciate this question.
Okay.
But yeah, do you use a tool to get product reviews? And does that
Yeah.
integrate with your SP, or is it sending on its, through its own,
So WooCommerce built-in default product reviews are terrible, and there's lots of different
right?
plugins and add-ons that you can get to utilize it. And it's important to get proper reviews and give abilities to have spam control and version control, and also to provide almost like gamification, so upvoting and showing the most relevant reviews and sorting options. So there's a plugin I use called Yith. It's Yith Advanced Review.
Oh, I love Yith. I'm using
Yeah.
Yith rewards and loyalty
Yeah.
points and rewards. Yeah.
Yeah, they're brilliant. And so we use Yith Advanced Reviews, and then also it's Google. It's not the free one from Google Sitekit. I think it's just Google Merchant Center feed or something. I can't remember the name of it. It's one of the Merchant Center feeds that I would use for most of my e-commerce clients. They have a built-in section for defining an additional feed for reviews, because Google uses a separate reviews feed now in Merchant Center to surface your reviews in search results and shopping results. So it's important to have that system set up as well to go along with the enhanced review system, so you get the correct metadata and content going out. So that handles the user feedback, the good user experience, and also the SEO and the technical side and the search and that kind of way. And then because the store, we have it connected to Metorik, it then pulls in with the product purchases and it sends out the product review emails, and it's superb, absolutely brilliant for doing that. So yeah, we've got 3 tools: Metorik for the actual product review emails, WooCommerce essentially to the connection in to get the product, and then the Yes Advanced Reviews to make the correct reviews. So yeah, there you
Wow. Okay. Great answer. I wrote down a few things, but I think you just covered that.
go. Cool.
Cool. All right. So now we could just jump to the end.
No worries.
All right. Yeah. So final thoughts. Yeah, I always say that Yanatori went on for 45 minutes. So that's the bar. That's the high bar. But, some people is like, I had a great time. Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So make it what you want.
No, mine might be closer to the second one, purely because I have another school run to do. But no, I think, it's a really exciting time for email, and because we have, we're entering this era of privacy where we're sunsetting universal analytics in July this year, June, July, and moving over to Google Analytics 4, which I think is a dumpster fire anyway. I don't really like Google Analytics, and I think it's using a mixture of AI, machine learning informed data, trying to fill the gaps, because basically Google Analytics 4, in theory, I believe it is in practice as well, is more, it's not privacy friendly, but it's more privacy friendly than universal analytics. So it does have to fill data in different ways. And with most of the major browsers, with the exception of Google, because they keep delaying it, have already removed or automatically blocking third-party tracking cookies. Once Chrome hits that, it was already meant to have happened. I believe it's not happening now to 2024 until they can come up with another way to track people that's more privacy compliant, which is essentially what Google's just doing. and then we had iOS 14 with ads coming after that way, and then iOS 15, which was email marketing and tracking. It's going to be really interesting because there's a recent ruling against Meta within the EU, and the Irish Data Protection Agency were basically telling them that, you know, you cannot use personalization to target people, which is kind of their entire, you know, business model. And they're fighting that, which they're going to. And they've already implemented some temporary changes. And depending on your privacy settings, you'll see them. Sometimes, you know, you won't. So I can't use Facebook Messenger actually at the moment. Not that I really use it that much, but I can't use it because of my privacy settings, because they serve ads in it. So because of my privacy settings, I can't use it because they've temporarily blocked the ads. So instead of stopping the ads, they've just blocked my access to the app. And they basically say that in the app as well. That's like the middle finger to privacy. We're like, well, you don't care. We're just telling you that you're not getting it because of, you know, your privacy settings, because you live in the EU. You're like, okay. But I think with all that combined, we're moving to an era where the world's worst kept secret, where Apple's going to start its own ad network, and it'll be internal. So ad networks, ads aren't going to go away, but I think they're going to be isolated to a certain extent to platforms. So, you know, you won't see Meta potentially, now I could be wrong with this, obviously, this is just a prediction, my thoughts, you know, you won't see their tracking anymore potentially outside of their own platforms. So you'll only have tracking within their product set. Same, you know, with Apple, they'll only track you within their product set. They're not going to track you on websites, because, like, I think most people know this now, that, you know, Facebook is everywhere. They're on every website. Their tracking pixels it's terrifying. TikTok's obviously dramatically worse. But those platforms are going to have internal ad platforms that don't go outside of their platforms. I think that will probably be the biggest change. And I think we're probably going to see a lot more services that were free becoming paid, because, you know, a free product, you give up your privacy pretty much these days, or you have done for a long time. So products that we previously enjoyed, if it's like, do you want your privacy? Fine, you need to pay for it. So right. I think that'll be I think it's going to be a really interesting. What were we now? January? No, oh my goodness, we're in March.
We're in March. Well, welcome to March. Yeah,
I lost 2 months. Wow. I think we're in for a really interesting ride the next 12 to 18 months as marketers, and we have a responsibility to obviously help our clients generate revenue, but also to respect people's privacy, respect people, treat them as humans, stuff that we've talked about repeatedly in this. And as you said before, I would like to thank you for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. I've loved looking at this background with envy. Going, do you know what? I need this room. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You're a great guest. Like, really, I enjoyed myself thoroughly, and I'd love to chat with you about a lot of topics outside email. Even, you know, but even the email stuff's been really fantastic. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
That'll wrap up our show. I'll see you in a minute. That's our show for today. Thank you, Simon Harper. And that's not Stephen Harper, who just came to mind, the former Prime Minister of Canada. No, Simon Harper from Northern Ireland, right here at Inboxing. We'll be back. I'm not sure even who our next guest is, but we'll be back. And as always, we're still looking for a sponsor. So if you've seen this and you have a product that you want to sell, or you want to get your brand out there, great opportunity with Inboxing. Get in touch.